And we'd wake up every morning, and it haunts me to this day. I wake up and I hear this whiny voice just calling out, "Reveille, reveille." And we'd wake up at 5 o'clock on the dot every morning to that. We'd get a few hours of sleep each night, and we'd be exhausted. The most uncomfortable sleep you've ever had, because there was no mattress. You're just lying on the ground.
On the ground?
You're just lying on the ground.
What do you mean ground? Inside a shelter?
Yeah, so we had our hooches and our hooch buddies. So, the hooches were just, you've got some poles there, you got some string to tie it off.
A big pile of leather on the top.
Yeah, essentially. Oh, well, no, there was fabric.
Different type of
something like that. And then they had us living on rations up there. So we got these ration packs in the hooch.
Of hooch?
No, there was no hooch.
Okay.
Actually, they were awesome. I think it's safe to say that we all missed these ration packs that were filled with. There was chocolate. There were muesli bars. Yeah. There were biscuits. There was coffee, and they give you these tubes that look like toothpaste of sweetened condensed milk. And that was to be your milk and sugar, because of course, you couldn't just take around milk with you. They were great, those ration packs. And from day one, they started training us up in how to operate weapons and how to handle a rifle and battle maneuvers. And it was nuts. It was really full-on training that they put us through. And it took us a little while to work out that the Japanese, the actors playing the IJA in the Pacific, were being trained about 1 kilometre away from we were. And we heard them, every now and then, in the morning, you just hear these shouts and these battle calls. And we're going, fuck. Wonder why they're so close to us.
Oh, no.
Wonder what that's about. Then probably about the third day in, we were sent into the rainforest, on these little missions. And we've all got our rifles, and we're using blank ammunition. So, it wouldn't hurt anyone. Sure, maybe if we were this close and I fired, but it sounded real, and it kind of felt real. It was so loud, especially for us punsy little actors. They took us in there, and the Japanese, of course, were somewhere hidden, and then you just hear this noise, and just like a twig break or something, and everyone would stop, and you go down on the one knee. Yeah, exactly. And then suddenly you just hear this contact left, and everyone turns, and all shit just hits the fan. And you're sweating like crazy because you're in the humid, dangerous rainforest, and you're covered in shit and belts, and the adrenaline is just pumping through you, and there's gunfire everywhere. And the minute that you hear a rifle go off next to you, or your rifle, you just get this ring in your ear, and that's when you know that it's on. It's okay, I'm in it now. This is what's happening. So we had these battles with the Japanese in the middle of the dangerous rainforest. And then, some nights, because we had our foxholes, out the front of our command post, looking out over the paddocks in front of us. And we'd have to sleep in the foxholes. And one night, the Japanese actually came and attacked our CP. So some of them came from the side, and the other ones were out the front. And you'd hear the noises. So it's pitch black out there, and you just kind of hear these voices, and you're like, fuck. Motherfuck. And
they couldn't see anything either.
No, they wouldn't be able to see anything either. So they were going through exactly what we were going through. They were just being trained in their ways, how the RJ would have been trained back then. And then you just hear this bonsai, and it was the freakiest sound I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Just this bonsai, and then. Of course, and we're all freaking out, and we're firing like crazy, even though you've got all the sergeants just going, "Cease fucking fire! What the fuck are you doing?" No, they're gonna kill you. And it was just nuts. You just have to keep reminding yourself that it's not real. It's not real. This is all make-believe. But they wanted us to be in it. They wanted us to feel what it felt like, and we all got there. We all felt it. But it was way too hard to separate fact from fiction at that point. It just felt way too real. And it was a weird experience on the last day when we went and we shook all the hands of the Japanese actors, the guys who had been 1 kilometre away from us, who 2 days ago we were calling, we called them nasty names, of course, because that's what happened there. We're shaking their hands, but man, we had so much respect, and I have so much respect for those guys. They were so disciplined throughout the entire shoot. The Japanese actors, they were fantastic. Hey man.
So can I just clean your maple syrup?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's gonna fill up our maple syrup.
So, you guys were shooting at each other. You guys versus the Japanese. How many of the Americans? You were American, right?
Yeah, I was an American. So we were playing United States Marines. There were about 50 of us and probably about 30 of the Japanese guys. So they were heavily outnumbered. Of course they were. We've got to win. And we're there with all the actors and Captain Dale Dye and all his cadre of the Warriors Inc. company. And it was just intense. And it was probably it was the best and worst 10 days of my whole entire life. It was hard at the time, and we complained and we bitched, but there was something so special about it that when we left it just felt like another world. Like I remember this one night that one of my good mates, Rob, who was away at the boot camp as well, Rob and I sat there one night when we had like 5 minutes of free time, which never happened. And like at that time, our two friends were going to this formal, this fancy party together, and we're sitting there just going, wonder what they're doing right now. Probably hopping in the limo. Yeah. Do you reckon they're having fun? Yeah. And it seemed like such a foreign world, which of course it wasn't. Because there you're separated from everything, and you've got no technology, no phones, no communication with the outside world. But the highlight of this boot camp experience was the first day when we were shaking, and they've got us there. They've just got us to set up our hooches, and they've taught us how to eat a ration pack. They actually taught us. Like they Captain Dale Dyes, pulled apart the ration pack and showed us when we should eat what. And we go, okay, great. And then they've got us standing at attention for a good 5 minutes, just looking straight ahead. Because when you're standing at attention, you just got to stand and just stare. Have that 1,000-mile stare, 1,000 yards, sorry. And then we saw these four-wheel drives pulling up to the right of where we were standing, and the cadre just saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Look straight fucking ahead, man! Don't fucking look over there." And we're like, "Okay, something's happening. We're all gonna die. We're probably gonna die." And then they pull up, and we're looking straight ahead, and we see a few bodies moving over there, and then this one figure, starts walking in front of us, and we don't want to move our eyes at that point, but then you can feel this aura approaching you. Like, holy fuck, it's Tom Hanks. Wow. And it was the most surreal experience, standing there. And there was a good silence of about 5 seconds where we didn't know what to do. And he saw that we were all just packing ourselves, because there he is, Tom Hanks, the man, the man. And he's just, in pure Tom Hanks style, in the utter coolness of his twang, he's just gone, "At ease, gentlemen." And I'm like, oh, fuck. And he stood in front of us for a good, half an hour, talking to us about why we were there, why we're at this boot camp, and why we're doing the Pacific, and why he's doing the Pacific, and what the project meant to him. And it was beautiful to listen to him talk, because he's such a good talker. I mean, we stood there in front of him, and it felt like you're in the last scene of Forrest Gump or Castaway or something. Just because that voice, you shouldn't be witnessing it in person. It just doesn't make sense. But he was so passionate about what he was doing, and he was the one guy who, from the outset, said, "Look, you probably think you're glorified extras up here. I want you to know that's horseshit. You're up here for a reason, and it's our responsibility to tell the truth and to tell this true story. And no one gives a shit about World War II. No one gives a shit about the Pacific War." And we're like, okay, yeah, right. And it was just great to see someone so passionate Yeah, he came out there. What a guy! What a guy! That was the Tom Hanks experience.